Yes, Kenya. Tamu sana, yes. In this video, I want us to have a look at a very interesting story that is currently developing. NTV Kenya Kwanza team says it's open to drop Kainan from bipartisan talks. Ask Azimio to call off demos. If you go through that story, NTV Kenya is reporting that Kenya Kwanza Brigade is now ready and willing to drop Kainan as one of their members negotiating, or rather on the negotiating table with Azimio. And equally, they want Azimio to drop Kosing. Yes. In this video, as usual, I want us to dig deep into this story, in which I'll explain why I strongly believe William Ruto and his team are seriously panicking as a result of Azimio's looming demonstrations bound to start on Tuesday, the 2nd of May. But before we do that, let's listen to William Ruto speaking earlier today. Listen to Ruto.
Kupanga ati kuharibu mali ya watu. Nasikia ati wanataka kupanga kwenda Nairobi katikati ati kwenda kuharibu mali ya wananchi. Ati kwenda kulete fujo. Mimi nataka niwaambie my friends, hiyo haitawezekana. Mimi ndio rais wa Kenya. Na kama mnataka kuendelea, mtajua hamjui. Yes, enough is enough. Haiwezekani tena. Haitawezekana tena. And I want to tell them, wasione ya kwamba tumesema tuongee. Wanaona ya kwamba ati watatuletea mchezo. Mchezo hatutaki. Uchaguzi iliisha. Wananchi waliamua. Mambo ya kuharibu mali ya wananchi, kuharibu biashara ya wananchi, hiyo haitawezekana going forward.
I want to encourage also our friends in the opposition to work with us in building the country, and any of the issues that they have to raise, the Constitution robustly provides for us to engage in a constructive manner without the necessity of engaging in violent confrontations, unnecessary destruction of property, unnecessary disruptions of business. We believe that we can do this as Kenya and take the country forward if all of us share the belief that we must do this for every Kenyan. My interests, that of leaders, cannot supersede the interests of the 50 million Kenyans that put us in office.
Yes. That's William Ruto speaking earlier today, and is reminding Raila Odinga and the Azimio team that he is the president na watajua hawajui. Listening to William Ruto speak, he's not exhibiting that authority that should come with this stature as the president, the commander in chief. His tone, his words, lacks that aspect of authority. And why is Ruto reminding Azimio Brigade that is the president, if he sure is the president? All those are signs of a president who is very unsure of himself. A president clearly under siege. And I've always maintained that what William Ruto speaks in public is very different from what he does in private. And again, I've always maintained that when you see two sides, or rather the two opposing camps, hardening their stances, then a deal is almost being sealed. And in this case, it's a fact that Azimio is calling for the new rounds of demonstrations because William Ruto and his team are not serious about the talks. Azimio, in fact, for some days now, has been calling for the replacement of Aden Canaan. William Ruto and his team have never taken that as a serious issue. But now with the looming demonstrations, Ruto and his team are now seeing the seriousness of Aden Canaan not being part of those on the negotiating table. What does that mean, ladies and gentlemen? The first thing coming out very clearly, Ruto and his team should and must be pushed for them to act. And what William Ruto, the language Ruto and his team understands is the language of demonstrations, mass action. And I'm saying that because even before Azimio started their demonstrations, Raila Odinga and his team gave William Ruto some duration, or rather a duration, after which Raila Odinga extended it again and now declared that on 20th, the demonstrations were to begin. So after the demonstrations, that's the only time William Ruto saw it fit to invite Azimio to the negotiating table. Before that, Ruto and his team were even chiding and laughing off the likes of Raila Odinga and that team. But after the demonstrations, after they saw Raila's strength on the ground, that's when William Ruto and his team yielded. And even on the issue of Aden Canaan, I'm very sure that come Tuesday, when Raila and his team will actually make good their threats and they stage that demonstration, William Ruto and his team will see it and actually they will calm down a bit. So the only language Ruto and his team understands is the language of protests and demonstrations. Secondly, if you look at William Ruto speak, one might be tempted to think that Ruto is not the president. Because honestly, I believe a president should be a symbol of national unity. And a leader in the stage of a president, it's important that when you make a decision, you stick by that decision. When William Ruto extended an olive branch to Raila Amolo Odinga, and after Raila Odinga accepted the olive branch, William Ruto's team started reneging, or rather started actually sabotaging the talks. And that's why most definitely Raila and his team wants to actually go back to the people. That confirms that Ruto is not yet matured enough to be a symbol of national unity. He should be bringing the country together with these actions and with these words. Not a leader saying something today, tomorrow he's issuing threats. Ruto should rise to the occasion and be the symbol of national unity. Not saying one thing today, tomorrow he's doing the exact opposite. As I conclude, earlier today, or rather this afternoon, Azimio team were in Kibra constituency. And from what came from Kibra, anytime mass action or Maandamano was mentioned, the people went wild. A confirmation again that Azimio supporters, Raila Odinga's fans, they don't want anything to do with these talks, these so-called bipartisan talks. They want demonstrations because they honestly believe that the power belongs to the people. If the people say they don't want William Ruto will have no option but actually to obey. I strongly believe that if Kenyans can decide today that they don't want William Ruto will have no option but to obey. Rather to obey, yes. Let me stop it there, ladies and gentlemen. But just as I did indicate when we were starting, if you are watching us but you have not yet subscribed, subscribe, give this video a like. And to our fans, our subscribers here, I'm very much humbled, very grateful for the kind of support you are giving me here. God bless you. God bless Kenya. Any other person who wants to support us, I've pinned my number on the comment section. Contact me through the number. Let's meet in our next analysis. Thank you.